She didn't scream. Not when the cold glue hit her scalp. Not when her classmates gasped and froze. Not even when the boy behind her whispered, "Thought your hair needed a little fixing." Nia Jackson had spent 3 years at Westlake High trying to disappear, keeping her head down, letting her art speak where her voice couldn't. But all it took was one bottle of super glue, one moment of cruelty, to rip away everything she'd worked so hard to protect. What the bully didn't know was that he hadn't destroyed her. He'd just given her the perfect canvas. Just before we get started, are you the type to listen while doing chores, or do you sit back and soak it all in? Tell us how you watch these stories down below. This one's got a moment you won't see coming. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Nia Jackson stood at her locker, carefully arranging her art supplies. Each brush and pencil had its place, just like in her life. A talented senior at Westlake High, Nia had spent 3 years perfecting the art of being invisible. Being one of the few black students at a mostly white school meant she'd learned to speak softly, keep her head down, and let her artwork speak for her. "Your portfolio is coming along beautifully," Miss Keller had told her yesterday. "Cooper Art Institute would be lucky to have you." The thought made Nia's heart race. Cooper was her dream school. The golden ticket out of this town and into a future where her art mattered. Where she mattered. She ran her fingers through her hair, thick, coiled locks that cascaded past her shoulders. Her crown, her mother called it. The one part of herself Nia never compromised on. "Hey, Picasso," a voice sneered. Tyler Matthews leaned against the locker next to hers, his varsity jacket nearly brushing her arm. "Heard Ms. Keller gushing over your little doodles yesterday." Nia tensed but kept organizing her brushes. Tyler had been in her space since freshman year, his attention shifting from flirtatious to cruel after she'd rejected his advances at last year's homecoming. "They're not doodles," she said quietly. "They're mixed media portraits." Tyler's eyes narrowed. "Well, aren't you special? You think you're too good for the rest of us." He pushed off the locker, knocking her sketchbook to the floor. "Cooper Art Institute," he mimicked in a high voice. "Good luck with that." As he walked away, Nia noticed Maya Chen watching from across the hall. Their eyes met briefly before Maya looked away, clutching her books tighter. Another silent witness. Another person who would do nothing. In advanced art, Nia settled at her favorite spot by the window. The light was perfect for the piece she was working on, a self-portrait exploring identity and belonging, with her hair featuring prominently as flowing lines across the canvas. "Class," Miss Keller announced, "I've submitted Nia's portfolio for the Young Artist Showcase at the Contemporary Museum downtown." Heads turned. Whispers rippled. Nia felt her cheeks burn. "Only one student from each school gets nominated," Ms. Keller continued. And this year, Nia's work stood out above all others. Pride filled Nia's chest, but when she glanced across the room, she caught Tyler's cold stare. His hand was clenched around a pencil, so tightly his knuckles had turned white. Something in his eyes made her shiver. She didn't know it yet, but tomorrow everything would change. The next day started like any other. Nia arrived early to work on her showcase piece. The classroom was quiet except for the soft scratch of her charcoal against paper. Students trickled in. Tyler entered with his usual group of followers, laughing too loudly about something. Nia kept her focus on her art, but she could feel his eyes boring into her back. Miss Keller wasn't in the room yet. Just students settling in, unpacking supplies, chatting about weekend plans. Nia leaned forward, adding detail to her self-portrait. Her hair spread across the canvas like roots of a mighty tree, connecting her to ancestors she'd never known but whose strength she carried. She didn't notice Tyler moving behind her. She didn't see the small bottle in his hand. The first cold drop hit her scalp like ice water. Then another. And another. Nia froze. Something was trickling down her neck. Sticky. Cold. Wrong. The classroom fell silent. Someone gasped. Nia's mind caught up with terrible clarity. Tyler was standing over her, emptying a bottle of super glue onto her hair. "Since you love your hair so much," Tyler whispered, just loud enough for those nearby to hear, "I thought it could use some styling." Time slowed down. Nia saw Maya cover her face in horror. She saw other students' mouths hanging open in shock. No one moved. No one stopped him. The bottle kept dripping. The glue seeped deeper into her hair, cold against her scalp, hardening instantly where it touched air. Panic rose in her chest. What is going on here? Miss Keller's voice cut through the silence as she entered the room. She dropped her coffee mug, shattering it on the floor. Tyler, what have you done? Nia couldn't speak, couldn't move. The glue was hardening, pulling painfully at her scalp. Tears burned in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Tyler took a step back, his smirk fading as the reality of his actions sank in. It was just a joke, he mumbled. Office. Now. Miss Keller pointed to the door, her hand shaking with anger. As Tyler shuffled out, Miss Keller knelt beside Nia. Don't touch it, she warned gently. We need to get you to the hospital. The word hospital broke through Nia's shock. This wasn't just humiliation. This was assault. As Miss Keller guided her toward the door, Nia caught her reflection in the classroom window. Glue dripped down her face like tears, her beautiful hair already clumping into a hardened, distorted mess. In that moment, something inside Nia hardened too. The emergency room lights buzzed overhead as a doctor examined Nia's hair. Her mother sat beside her, hand clasped over her mouth, eyes burning with fury and heartbreak. I'm sorry, the doctor said, his voice gentle but firm. Super glue can't be dissolved without damaging the scalp. We'll need to cut it out. Cut it out. 3 small words that sliced through Nia like a knife. For hours, medical staff worked to remove sections of her hair, cutting as close to the scalp as possible without causing more pain. Each snip of the scissors felt like another piece of her identity falling away. When they finished, Nia barely recognized herself in the mirror. Patchy, uneven tufts remained where her crown had been. Some areas were cut almost to the skin. Others were left longer, but damaged beyond repair. Baby, we'll fix this, her mother whispered, tears streaming down her face. We'll figure it out, but how do you fix someone's identity being stripped away in front of an audience? Back home, Nia locked herself in her bedroom for 3 days. She ignored calls from Ms. Keller, ignored messages from classmates suddenly finding their conscience. The school principal called to inform them Tyler had received a 3-day suspension, a 3-day vacation for destroying her dignity. On the 4th day, Nia sat on her bed staring at her reflection. The damage looked even worse now, uneven, broken, foreign. Her phone pinged with a message from Ms. Keller. The museum still wants your piece for the showcase next month. Your spot is secure. Next month. When she would still look like this. When everyone would stare and whisper and know. Something snapped inside Nia. She grabbed her phone and searched for black barbershops near me. Then she called her mother. Mom, I need to go somewhere. Will you take me? An hour later, Nia sat in Marcus's barbershop, surrounded by the comforting sounds of clippers and conversation. You sure about this, young lady? Marcus asked, concern in his eyes. Nia met his gaze in a mirror. Yes, take it all off. As the clippers hummed to life, Nia closed her eyes. She felt the vibration against her scalp as the remaining patches of hair fell away. With each pass of the clippers, her breathing steadied. When Marcus finished, he spun the chair around. Take a look. Nia opened her eyes. Her head was completely bald, smooth, even, intentional. For the first time in days, she smiled. This wasn't defeat. This was her first brushstroke on a new canvas. That night, Nia couldn't stop touching her smooth scalp. It felt strange, terrifying, and liberating at once. She'd spent hours researching online, finding images of powerful black women with shaved heads, models, activists, artists. An idea began forming. Nia pulled out her art supplies and placed them on her desk. Among them was a package of henna cones she'd bought for a project last year. Natural dye. Temporary. Perfect. She worked through the night, bent over her mirror, applying intricate patterns to her scalp. Curving lines. Geometric shapes. Abstract swirls that evoked the texture and movement of the hair she'd lost. By morning, her head had become her canvas, a living, breathing work of art. Nia, her mother gasped when she came down for breakfast. That's beautiful. Nia touched her decorated scalp gently. I can change the design every few days. Make it whatever I want. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. You're incredible. You know that. For the first time, Nia wondered if maybe she was. Still, the thought of returning to school made her stomach clench. She'd been absent for a week already. Rumors must be swirling. Tyler would be back from his joke of a suspension. I have to go back, she told her reflection. But I'm going back on my terms. Monday morning arrived with cruel speed. Nia chose her outfit carefully. Black turtleneck, gold earrings, and a new pattern on her scalp. A phoenix rising from flames, the lines flowing from the nape of her neck to her forehead. Her hands trembled as she reached for the school's front door. Inside, the hallway fell silent as she walked to her locker. Whispers followed like shadows. Is that Nia? What did she do to her head? It looks so amazing. That last comment stopped her. She turned to find a sophomore girl staring with undisguised admiration. Thanks, Nia said, her voice stronger than she expected. By lunchtime, photos of Nia's head art had spread throughout the school. Some mocked, but many more were impressed. In advanced art, Ms. Keller couldn't contain her excitement. Nia, this is extraordinary. You've turned a terrible act into something revolutionary. After class, Maya Chan approached hesitantly. I'm so sorry I didn't do anything, she whispered. I was scared. But what you've done, it's brave. Nia studied Maya's face, the genuine regret in her eyes. Thank you for saying that, Nia replied. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. As she left school that day, Nia spotted Tyler watching her from across the parking lot. His face showed something she'd never seen before. Uncertainty. Good. Let him wonder what she would do next. Because this was just the beginning. 2 weeks later, Nia's transformation had evolved beyond anything she could have imagined. Every 3 days, she created a new design on her scalp, each more elaborate than the last. She photographed each creation, posting them on her previously quiet Instagram account. The followers came slowly at first, then in a rush, 50, 500, 5,000. Her comments section filled with messages from people around the world. Your art helped me embrace my alopecia. I shaved my head after chemo and felt ugly until I saw your designs. You're redefining beauty. At school, a strange new reality emerged. Freshmen asked for selfies. Teachers used words like innovative and boundary pushing. Even students who had laughed at her humiliation now watched her with curious respect. All except Tyler and his closest friends, who doubled down on their cruelty. It's pathetic, Tyler said loudly as Nia walked past his lunch table. Trying to get famous because she can't grow hair. His words still stung, but the sting faded a little more each day. In advanced art, Nia worked furiously on her showcase piece, a 6-panel self-portrait showing her transformation. Each panel showed a stage, her original hair, the attack, the hospital, the barbershop, and her emergence as a canvas. The 6th panel remained blank. The ending isn't written yet, she explained to Ms. Keller. After class, Maya approached with her laptop. I need to show you something. She opened a web browser to reveal an email from Nora Winters, a famous black artist known for her work exploring identity. Dear Ms. Chen, it read, I came across photos of a student at your school, a young woman creating remarkable head art. I'm curating an exhibit on bodily autonomy and would like to feature her work. Could you connect us? Nia's breath caught. How did she find me? Maya looked down. I've been documenting your designs. I'm good with photography. I submitted them to her gallery's open call. She paused. But that's not all I documented. She clicked to another file. A video began playing, shaky but clear. It showed Tyler standing behind Nia, pouring glue onto her hair. It captured everything. His words, the silent classroom, the moment of horrified realization on Nia's face. You recorded it? Nia whispered. Maya nodded. I was too scared to do anything that day. But I'm not scared anymore. Nia stared at the screen, watching the worst moment of her life play out. Rage and pain swelled inside her, but something else too power. Have you shown anyone else? No, Maya said. It's your story to tell. Your choice what happens next. Before Nia could respond, her phone chimed with a notification. Her Instagram followers had just passed 50,000. And there was a direct message from Nora Winters herself. Your art speaks to trauma, resilience, and reclamation. Let's talk. Nia looked from her phone to the video still frozen on Maya's screen. The pieces of a plan began falling into place. I know exactly what my 6th panel will be, she said. The school buzzed with news of Nia's growing fame. Her upcoming feature in Nora Winters' exhibition had been announced, drawing attention from local media. Principal Weston, who had barely acknowledged the glue incident, now spoke proudly about nurturing creative expression at Westlake High. For the first time, Nia felt seen, truly seen, for her talent rather than her trauma. Until Friday afternoon. Nia stayed late to finish her showcase piece, working alone in the art room while Ms. Keller attended a faculty meeting. The 6 panels were nearly complete, including the final one, a design she'd kept secret from everyone. When she stepped out to use the restroom, the art room was empty. When she returned 5 minutes later, everything changed. Her showcase piece lay on the floor, torn and defaced. Red paint splattered across each panel like blood. Scrawled across the center, attention seeker, Nia fell to her knees, hands hovering over the destroyed artwork. 4 months of work. Her heart and pain laid bare, now violated again. She knew immediately who was responsible. Finding Ms. Keller was a blur. Calling her mother a haze. The principal arriving, his face grave as he surveyed the damage. This is outrageous, Principal Weston declared. But without proof of who did this. It was Tyler, Nia said, her voice hollow. That's a serious accusation, Ms. Jackson. Do you have evidence? Before she could answer, Tyler appeared in the doorway, drawn by the commotion. His face showed practiced concern. What happened? He asked, eyes widening at the destroyed artwork. Like you don't know, Nia spat. Tyler raised his hands. I was at basketball practice all afternoon. Coach can verify. Principal Weston turned to Nia with a look that said, see? It couldn't have been him. But Nia saw something else, smears of red paint beneath Tyler's fingernails. That night, Nia locked herself in her bedroom, refusing dinner. The museum showcase was in 2 weeks. Nora Winters was expecting her piece in 10 days. Everything was falling apart. Her phone buzzed with a text from Maya. I heard what happened. I'm so sorry. Then another message. Maybe it's time people saw the video. Nia stared at the words, a war raging inside her. The video would prove what Tyler was capable of. It would validate her story. But did she want that moment, her trauma, her humiliation, to become public spectacle? Before she could decide, another message appeared. This one from Ms. Keller. Nia, tragedy often precedes breakthrough. Artists throughout history have faced destruction of their work. What matters is what you create next. Nia sat up, wiping her tears. Miss Keller was right. This wasn't the end of her story. It was just another panel. She reached for her sketchbook and began drawing frantically, a new concept, bigger and bolder than before. She would need help to complete it in time. As midnight approached, Nia sent a group text to Maya and 3 other students who had recently supported her. I need your help with something important. Something that will change everything. Their responses came instantly. Count me in. Whatever you need. When do we start? For the first time since seeing her destroyed artwork, Nia smiled. Tyler thought he'd silence her. He had no idea what was coming. The next day, 5 students gathered in Ms. Keller's classroom during lunch. Nia stood before them, her scalp adorned with a new design, interconnected hands representing unity and strength. What happened to my art wasn't just about me, Nia explained. It's about every student who's been bullied, silenced, or made to feel they don't belong. She unrolled a large sketch across 2 desks. This is what I want to create instead. The students leaned forward, eyes widening. The sketch showed a massive installation, a series of panels that would form a circle around viewers, placing them inside the experience of being targeted and transformed. It's called Witness, Nia said, and I need each of you to contribute. Maya would provide photography and video. Derek, known for woodworking, would build the structural elements. Zoe and James would help with painting and assembly. Each person brought skills Nia needed. Why us? Zoe asked. I barely know you. Because you all saw what happened that day, Nia replied quietly. You were witnesses. Now you can be part of changing the story. As they worked after school and weekends, something unexpected happened. They began sharing their own stories, times they'd been targeted, times they'd stayed silent, times they wished they'd acted differently. I should have said something when Tyler poured the glue, Derek admitted, sanding a panel edge. I was scared of becoming his next target. We all were, Zoe added. That's how he maintains power. While they worked, Maya showed Nia something on her laptop, a growing collection of videos and testimonials from other students who had been bullied by Tyler and his friends. A pattern of behavior stretching back years. People are finally ready to speak up, Maya said. They just needed someone to go first. 2 days before the showcase, Principal Weston requested a meeting with Nia. I understand you've created a replacement piece, he said, leaning back in his chair. I'm thrilled you've bounced back from that unfortunate vandalism incident. His dismissive tone made Nia's skin crawl. I'd like to personally attend the showcase, he continued. The school board is quite interested in your success. Great publicity for Westlake. Nia met his gaze steadily. I'd be honored if you attended, Principal Weston. In fact, I'm inviting the entire school board. She paused. And Tyler Matthews. Principal Weston blinked in surprise. Are you sure that's wise? Given the tension between you two? Absolutely, Nia replied. This exhibition is about witnessing. Everyone should have that opportunity. As she left his office, Nia texted her team. It's set. Everyone will be there. That night, she created her most intricate head design yet, a complex pattern showing a phoenix rising from ashes, surrounded by watching eyes. Eyes that could no longer pretend not to see. The Contemporary Museum buzzed with anticipation. Normally, the Young Artist Showcase attracted modest crowds, proud parents, a few teachers, serious art students. Tonight was different. News of Nia's transformation had spread beyond school walls. Local media covered her story as one of resilience and artistic innovation. Her Instagram following had exploded to over 200,000. People lined up outside the museum, many with shaved heads in solidarity. Inside, Nia stood with her team, hidden behind a curtain that separated her installation from the main gallery. Are you ready? Maya whispered. Nia touched her head, adorned with a phoenix design. I've been ready since the day he poured that glue. The museum director clinked a glass for attention. Tonight, we're honored to present works from promising young artists across the city. But first, a special installation by Nia Jackson, whose work has caught the attention of renowned artist Nora Winters. Nora stepped forward, her presence commanding immediate respect. Art has always been a response to trauma, to injustice, to silencing. Tonight, Nia invites us not just to view her work, but to witness, truly witness, transformation. The curtain parted. Gasps filled the gallery as people entered the circular installation. 8 tall panels formed a ring, each depicting a stage of Nia's journey. But unlike her original piece, these panels included imagery of other students, their faces, their stories, their own moments of being silenced. At the center stood a pedestal with a single tablet playing Maya's video of the glue attack in a continuous loop. Near the entrance, Principal Weston's face drained of color as he watched the undeniable evidence of what had happened in his school. Beside him, school board members whispered urgently. And there was Tyler, frozen in place as he saw himself on screen, pouring glue onto Nia's hair, his malicious smile preserved forever in high definition. Nia stepped into the center of the installation. The crowd parted, cameras flashed. Art isn't just about beauty, she said, her voice strong and clear. It's about truth. When someone tried to humiliate me, I had 2 choices, stay hidden or become more visible than ever. She touched her decorated scalp. I chose to turn my pain into power. She gestured to the video playing behind her. This happened at Westlake High School. Not once, but repeatedly to different students. The same bullies. The same silence from those in power. Today, that silence ends. One by one, students from Westlake stepped forward, some Nia barely knew, sharing brief stories of harassment they'd endured. Principal Weston moved toward the exit, but board members blocked his path. Tyler stood paralyzed, witnessing the consequences of his actions rippling outward, touching lives he'd never considered important. When the last student spoke, Nia addressed the crowd once more. Bullying thrives in silence. Art thrives in truth. Tonight, we choose truth. The gallery erupted in applause. As people surrounded Nia with congratulations and questions, she caught Tyler's eye across the room. For once, he had nothing to say. The Monday after the exhibition, Westlake High School was transformed. Principal Weston had been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. An interim principal from the district office arrived with a zero-tolerance policy for bullying and a mandate for cultural change. Tyler didn't show up for school. Rumor had it his parents had withdrawn him following the public revelation of his behavior. Others said he was serving extensive community service at a cultural center focused on racial justice. For Nia, the most profound change was in the hallways. Students who had once looked away now met her eyes. Teachers who had minimized bullying now spoke openly about accountability. Younger students approached her between classes, whispering thank yous for making them feel safer. In advanced art, a surprise awaited. A letter addressed to Nia sat on her desk, formal letterhead from Cooper Art Institute. "We were impressed by your installation at the Contemporary Museum," it read. "Your ability to transform personal trauma into profound artistic statement shows exactly the vision and courage we foster at Cooper. We would be honored to offer you a full scholarship for the coming fall semester." Tears blurred Nia's vision as Ms. Keller squeezed her shoulder. "They came to the exhibition specifically to see your work," Ms. Keller said. Nora Winters made sure of it. After school, Nia found Maya waiting by her locker. Their friendship, born from trauma and solidarity, had deepened over the past weeks. "I have something to show you," Maya said, pulling out her phone. She opened social media to reveal photos from around the country. Students with shaved heads adorned with artistic designs, each tagged #WitnessChange. "You start a movement," Maya said. "People are using art to reclaim their stories." Nia touched her head, where new growth had begun to emerge, tiny coils promising a fresh start. She'd continue her designs, but now as choice rather than necessity. That weekend, Nia held her first workshop at the community center. 20 students from Westlake and beyond came to learn head art design. Some had been bullied. Some had been bystanders wanting to do better. All sought transformation. As Nia demonstrated techniques, a young girl raised her hand. "Weren't you scared to go back to school after what happened?" Nia paused, considering the question. "I was terrified," she admitted. "But I realized something important. When someone tries to make you invisible, making yourself more visible becomes an act of power." She looked around at the circle of faces, different ages, races, backgrounds, all connected by the simple act of witnessing each other's stories. "The person who hurt me thought he was ending my story," Nia continued. "He didn't realize he was just the beginning of a much bigger one." As the workshop continued, Nia's phone buzzed with a notification. Another 1,000 followers. Another school requesting a visit. Another opportunity to transform pain into purpose. This wasn't the senior year she had imagined. It was something far more powerful. It was her masterpiece. There are moments in life that break you, and moments that shape you. For Nia, the worst day of her life didn't end her story. It lit a fire in her. The glue in her hair was meant to humiliate her, to silence her. Instead, she turned it into something powerful. Into art. Into truth. Into change. And that's what made the difference. Not how much she lost, but what she chose to build from it. The world didn't give Nia a crown. She made one, out of pain, pattern, and pride. And now others are wearing theirs too. That wraps the story up. Was the school's reaction enough, or should more have been done? Let's talk in the comments. Thanks so much for being here. Share this with a friend if you think it's worth spreading. Make sure you're subscribed, and go ahead, pick your next story.